from which department? Who is going to start it? Who is going
Ma'am,
to
mathematics department.
Okay, Preeti Yadav. So you're going to present?
Ma'am, yes, our group will present.
Okay, so you can present now. And 1 minute, you can share the slide. And there was a request from one person that, group activity, both we are not able to do something like that. So now we will go with the presentation, whatever we are doing now. And after that, we will see about the other thing. So you don't worry about other presentation. Whatever you are ready with, you can present for your group. Then later we will see. Okay. Yes, you can start.
The highest action a human being can attain is learning for understanding. Because to understand is to be free. Good morning, everyone. First of all, we would like to thank Mamti Sangita to give us this opportunity to speak before you. Rabindranath Tagore once said that the education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. So today we are here to talk all about education. What is education? Why is it important? Education means the act of teaching knowledge to others and the act of receiving knowledge from someone else. So basically, education is the art of teaching and learning. Education is not just a word, it provides stability in life. It is something that no one can take away from you. Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another. The education system has been changing from years. There are a lot of transformation taking place in education system from years, which can be seen by turning the pages of the past. The first education system which we had is Vedic education. So, the talk of the day is all about the education in Vedic and post-Vedic period in India. So, let's begin with the content of our presentation. This presentation includes the education in Vedic and post-Vedic period, duties of teachers and students, merits and demerits of Vedic education, and at last, differences between early and post-Vedic period. First of all, we are going to discuss about Vedic and post-Vedic education. Vedic education system was first education system which evolved in India from 1500 BC to 600 BC. The ancient system of education were based on Vedas and hence it is known as Vedic education. The word Veda is derived from Sanskrit language which means knowledge. The ancient education system has been a source of inspiration to all educational systems of the world. Let's go through the fundamentals of ancient Indian education. Next slide. It involves development of the wholesome personality, which should be the primary aim of any education system. Moral strength and moral excellence were developed to the fullest extent. I would like to conclude that the social, moral, and spiritual values which our ancient system developed in the education system has been totally lost, which is not a good sign. The ancient system uh, not only focused on formal education but gave an equal importance to informal education. Education starts and ends with certain prescribed religious rituals like Upanyan and Samvartan. Adding to this, the academic sessions were being started solemnly. The whole session was punctuated with holidays. The school hours in ancient system lasted for 7 to 8 hours a day. In this period, classes were held in the open under the shady groves. The whole atmosphere was quiet, calm, and peaceful. There was a close contact between teachers and the taught. The teacher was considered to be a spiritual father for the students. This period emphasized more on discipline. The students had to observe strict regulations. Every student, whether rich or poor, leads a simple life in the Gurukul or in the ashram. I need to inform you that in schools and colleges, the pupil teacher ratio was too low, so individual attention was maximum at that time. The child's personality was respected. Teachers were required to use sweet and gentle speech in dealing with the pupil. The best part is that the education in ancient period was completely free. That is, no student is required to pay any fees. Now, let's go through the features of ancient Indian education. The primary aim of ancient education. The ancient schools followed the principle of education for self sufficiency. Modern education also lays stress upon preparing students to prepare themselves for their future life. Vocational subjects have been included in the curriculum. Free and universalization of education, which means education was free and universal. It is the duty of all government to provide free education to every child. So, that's all what I wanted to share with you about the education system in pre-Vedic period. Now I invite Miss Preeti to share her views about the post-Vedic education system.
Thank you, Sonam. Let's discuss about the educational system in Vedic and post-Vedic period. First, the sources of the Vedic education. The Vedic literature represents the most important and intrinsic part of life of the Indian people. The Vedic literature consists of the following. First, the four Vedas. The four Vedas are Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved. Next, the six Vedangas. The Vedanga are six auxiliary disciplines of Hinduism that developed in ancient times and have been connected with the study of Vedas. The six limbs of Vedangas are Shiksha, Chandas, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Kalpa, and Jyotisha. For Upavedas, the term Upaveda refers to traditional sciences or technical literature which have no connection whatever with the Shruti or revealed Veda. The four Upavedas include Dhanurved. It deals with science of warfare. Gandharva Ved. It deals with aesthetics like music, dance, etc. Ayurveda, it deals with science of health and life. And last, the Arthashastra that deals with the public administration. Next, the Brahmanas. They are the prose texts which explain the hymns in the Vedas, give explanation and applications and related stories of their origin. Upanishads. They are the philosophical religious texts of Hinduism, also known as Sanatan Dharma, meaning eternal order or eternal path, which develop and explain the fundamental tenets of the religion. There are between 180 to 200 Upanishads, but the best known are the 13, which are embedded in the four Vedas. Sixth system of philosophy. In Indian tradition, the word used for philosophy is darshan, viewpoint or perspective, from the Sanskrit word drish, that means to see. Thus, the Sanskrit word Shad refers to the six systems of philosophy, which are Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samakhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. The Bhagavad Gita. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a 700 verse Hindu scripture that is part of the epic Mahabharata. dated to the second half of the first millennium BCE, and is typical of the Hindu synthesis. It is considered to be one of the holy scripture for Hinduism. Smritis. Smriti, the Dharma Shastras, include the law codes of Hinduism, both secular and religious. Most important is the Manusmriti, that is still consulted in Indian law. Now let us know what was the purpose of studying Vedas. Next, Vedas occupy a very important place in the Indian life. The basis of Indian culture lies in the Vedas, which are following. First, the Rig Veda. Rik means praise. It contains praises for the deities like Indra, Agni, Rudra, and the two Ashwini gods Varuna, Maruti, Savitri, and Surya. It contains 1017 hymns. Second, Yajurved. Yajush means rituals. It contains different rituals and sacrifices to be conducted to pacify gods, and explains about the offerings made to God through Agni, that is fire. Third, Samaved. Sama means song. It contains verses that are built in their root form using seven notes: sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. Fourth, Atharvaved. It contains useful rituals to attain worldly happiness. It's more applicable to modern society as it deals with subjects like science, medicine, mathematics, engineering, technology, etc. Further, the characteristics of Vedic education are: next, Vedas are the oldest world literature. As the educational institutions were managed and organized by Brahmins, and all the books written in Sanskrit, therefore the medium of instruction was Sanskrit. Travel was regarded as necessary to give a finished touch to education. Main aim of Vedic education was to
So it was a beautiful explanation about the post-Vedic and the pre-Vedic period. I think already we have also discussed, but here we got a new insight. Like the Vedas are described in detail, Rig, Yajur, and other Vedas. It's very nice. Does the group have any kind of questions to the team? So if you give your reflection only, we can get into, like, we can know more. So if you have any questions, you can ask to the maths department. If anyone wants to ask, you can just ask. Is there any question?